This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Squarespace is the place to create a beautiful website for whatever you're doing so you can stand out and succeed online, but more on them later. 1 year ago, I made a video on the watches I would buy first if I was starting my collection again, but here we are, a year has passed and there's a lot of changes I would make to that video. So here's what I'd buy first if I was just getting into watches in 2026. Number 1. The watch that makes your heart sing. I know this is kind of a floofy title card, but I couldn't think of a better way to word this. This is the watch you just feel yourself wanting to an illogical degree. For me, it was the Cartier Tank. For you, it might be the JLC Reverso, Longines Spirit Zulu, or a Tudor Pelagus Ultra. It's just the watch that makes you think, maybe I'll buy this ridiculously expensive thing because I like it so much. The first time I made this video a year ago, I gave the advice I think most watch enthusiasts would give, which was buy a really good, solid, go anywhere, do anything watch. If you were going to put your money in one place, put it in your go anywhere, do anything, which is sensible advice. It makes a lot of sense. But the thing about watch collecting is it's not sensible. I changed my mind on this advice for 3 different reasons. For one, my first nicer watch was the Cartier Tank. It's a pretty timeless dress watch, and I did everything in this watch for years, and it was fine. I would wear this to the gym, camping, on long cycling trips. I wouldn't wear it swimming, but that's okay. I always have lots of notice before I go swimming, and I would take it off and leave it home. It is because my first nice watch was the watch I actually wanted that made me fall in love with watches and begin to understand why people are so gaga about these little machines. For 2, I've been keeping track of the watches that I actually wear from my collection, and it's almost always the built-for-purpose pieces. My most worn watch of 2025 was my mid-size Omega Seamaster diver. Second was my Tudor Black Bay 54, a diver again. And third was my FP Journe Elegant. I don't know what category this is, but it's not a boring staple. And 3, this might be the biggest thing that made me change my mind on my original advice. I recently bought a new bike. This is the first time I've even thought about getting into cycling since my accident. My former bike is mangled, so I had to buy something new. And I took my sensible advice of invest your money in a good go anywhere, do anything. What I really wanted was a sick, bright-colored carbon fiber road bike. What I bought was a very sensible titanium gravel bike that I can easily put a child seat on and run errands in. It was a very sensible choice. I don't want to ride it. If you start getting deep into watches and build a collection, there's a lot of time to buy sensible, go anywhere, do anything watches. For your first watch, and if it had to be your only watch, get the watch that makes you so ridiculously happy and it makes your heart sing. And maybe that is the Rolex Oyster Perpetual or the Rolex Explorer. Yes, all the power to you. But maybe it's a neo-vintage Longa 1815, or a Dolce Vita from Longines, or a vintage Rolex Kermit. Do, 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 do. Oh. You guys weren't supposed to see that. That's really unprofessional. I've wanted to start merch since I started this channel, and 2026 is the year I'm finally doing it. I'm making it happen, and I'm using Squarespace, today's fabulous video sponsor, to make it happen. It's a new year, baby. It's time to get that side project you've been sitting on up and going. Maybe it's a side hustle. Maybe it's expanding upon the thing you've already been doing. Either way, you need a website, and this is what Squarespace does. Using their cutting-edge design tools, you can create a fully customizable website, either using their Blueprint AI, where you just put in a few basic prompts and let the AI magic do the rest, or choosing from their library of professionally designed website templates. They have options for any niche and category to make your website feel like a little piece of you. They also take care of the hard stuff that I don't know how to do, like their SEO, search engine optimization tools. They ensure every website is optimized to be indexed with meta descriptions, auto-generated sitemaps, so you show up more on search engines and your ideal customers can find you. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. Honestly, Squarespace makes it inexcusably easy to make a website. Get that thing started. Don't sit on it for another year. Do it. And when you do, head to squarespace.com/BritPierce for a free trial. And when you are ready to launch, use the BritPierce code, the greatest code, to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. I'm serious. I don't care if it's cringy to say, the world needs that thing you've been dreaming up. Do it. And thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Okay, next, your second watch. And this is where we can be boring and sensible and practical. I always say boring watches are the unsung heroes of every collection, and it's true. Now, for this specific category, there's a few things I'm looking for. For one, my preference would be something in stainless steel, really robust, durable material. Number two, a versatile style, something round, easy to wear, will literally go with everything. 3, have some form of water resistance. 100 meters is modern industry standard and will cover any activity any normal person is doing. And 4, something that is a fairly standard size. I am not going for an oversized pilot's watch here. I would say the Rolex Oyster Perpetual is the poster child of this style, or the Explorer Aquaterra for something a bit more elevated, or the Tudor Black Bay one for something a bit sportier, chunkier. My personal style and tastes lean pretty sporty, so that's where I find myself going for a Gata. But what is practical for one person isn't necessarily for another. We all have pretty unique rhythms of life and things we do on a daily basis. My life is mostly wrestling with a toddler, going to hipster coffee shops, and the odd jog around the block. I'm not going deep sea fishing or snorkeling. 100 meters is fine. This actually made me think my highest levels of going in the water is probably jumping off a boat at my mom's cottage into a lake. The Oyster Perpetual is more than sufficient for all the things I do in my life. Great accuracy, versatile style. It's more than enough. Depending on your budget, for under £1,000, there's the Citizen Soyotsa, which retails for £300, but can be found on sale right now for about £199. The Tissot Gentleman, also on sale in many places, but retails for £800. If you have a couple £1,000s to spend on a watch in your budget, there's the Nomos Club Sport Neomatic, Oris Pro Pilot. Around £5,000 is something like the IWC Pilot's Watch Mark 20, or even a vintage or neo-vintage Ingenieur, maybe something like the Omega Railmaster, or even something from Grand Seiko. The Cartier Santos is one of the best in class. And, of course, Rolex Oyster Perpetual Explorer. If you have some real money burning a hole through your pocket, you just want to spend so much on a watch, there's it's a real if you know piece as well. The Parmigiani Fleurier Tonda. That watch, exquisite. If I could afford it. For your second watch, make it something practical. If you were going on holiday and could only bring one watch that could do everything, make it this one. Okay, now you've got something practical, you've got the watch that makes your heart sing, and now it's time for the Spec Beast. Spec Beast. Can you edit that out? Now, a lot of people are going to interpret Spec Beast as a made-for-purpose, robust tool watch, and that still counts in this category, but it doesn't necessarily have to be limited to just that. I am going to define this as anything that has been made to a higher degree to meet a specific functionality. Something like a dual time or a diver on the sportier end, or a chronograph, split-second chronograph, maybe a regulator or a perpetual calendar. I define this as something that makes you feel in awe of timepieces and craftsmanship. For me, it was my Tudor Black Bay 58. I always describe the Black Bay 58 as the watch that got me properly into watches. It pushed me into the deep end, pun always intended. And one of the things I was so in awe of was the spec capabilities. 200 meters of water resistance, unidirectional dive bezel, great manufacturer caliber movement with the MT5402, COSC certified, 70 hours of power reserve. It moved watches from a pretty thing you wear on your wrist to a serious piece of machinery. And one's interpretation of this doesn't necessarily have to be the Sea Dweller, something heavy hitting, a Panerai. It could be something like the Nomos Zurich World Time, Frederic Constant Classic Perpetual Calendar, Glashütte Original Pano Inverse, a dual face JLC Reverso. If you've got some real money, a JLC Master Control chronograph calendar, or a complicated Vacheron or Patek. I wish I had some real money. Do you know how many cool watches I would buy? Oh my gosh. You guys would love it. It could have been awesome. There's so many watches we could keep whittering on about here. Something that makes you feel in awe of watchmaking. This has been a fun video. I liked making this. More fun videos in 2026. So this is what I'd be buying first if I was starting my watch collection from scratch. I'd love to know, seasoned collectors, even not seasoned collectors, what you would do. Would you do things differently? Pop it in the comments down below. As always, thank you so much for your viewership. You guys are awesome. I hope you keep enjoying the content we make here in 2026. Thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. And thank you to the Pope tier patrons. Their names are on the screen right now. Oh, Pope tier patrons, you amazing people. I'm at the tail end of this horrible cold. I'm not sure if you can hear it in my voice. You probably can. But I had so much fun making this video. It's so fun coming out into my cold garage and talking about watches. And you guys make this all possible. Thank you so much for supporting my weird little channel. You guys make it financially viable for this thing to keep going. Thank you so much. I hope you keep enjoying the work we do here in this new year. Even if you don't, I hope you keep enjoying watches forever because they're fabulous, you're fabulous. And have a good one. Bye, guys.